What's up, it's cinemashogun here, and when I was growing up, I absolutely loved the old school Godzilla and King Kong movies. The ones from way back in the day, you know, with the people in the suits, like kicking over miniature buildings. You would have Godzilla wreaking havoc with the little toy. You could even tell it was like little toy tanks and stuff trying to shoot Godzilla, a guy in a costume just going crazy. I absolutely loved those movies. I had them all on VHS. Now, admittedly, I was more of a Godzilla kid. King Kong, he was okay, but I was a Godzilla kid, although I did love it when King Kong and Godzilla would face off. Those movies were so awesome. But you know, they don't make movies like they used to. Back in the day, you could sit down and get some pure entertainment, some good action, some good cheesiness even. But nowadays, movies are so preachy. We can no longer sit down and be taken to a different world where we can forget about real world problems. No, every movie has to preach about some sort of real life social issue or some other type of activism just pumped into these movies, like climate change, for example. And speaking of climate change, has anyone realized how ridiculous the climate change cult has gotten? I made a video not that long ago about how the climate cult was basically saying that humans were causing climate change by breathing. This is true. The latest studies show that humans are to blame. At first, they were blaming cow farts and cow burps. Now they're saying humans breathing. Humans breathing is the leading cause of climate change. And then you see these billionaires talking about how we need to do whatever we can to fight climate change. And then you see these politicians talking about how we need to put an end to climate change. Well, how do you think they're going to do that? When climate change is literally being blamed on humans breathing, and they're talking about reducing climate change and fighting and ending climate change, how do you think they're going to go about doing that? Spoiler alert, it's not going to be eliminating cars and eliminating this. Eventually, it's going to boil down to eliminating you. Because remember, they said that you are the leading cause of climate change by simply breathing. So in order to fight that, in order to stop that, they need to stop you from breathing. It's not hard to put two and two together. They put all of this stuff right out there. They say the quiet part out loud. A lot of people just choose not to listen. But if you pay attention and you read the articles and you see what these people say at their summits and at their meetings, you see just how ridiculous they are. They are so ridiculous that they have now reduced themselves to blaming climate change for the death of King Kong. I almost couldn't even get those words out my mouth. You may have noticed that little pause there because it almost sounds too unreal to be true, but this is not satire. A new King Kong versus Godzilla movie is coming out in a couple of months. The trailers are starting to circulate online. The fan base is starting to get hype. The toys are starting to hit shelves at Target and Walmart and you name it. And the climate change freaks are trying to hijack the conversation about this movie and turn it into a conversation about climate change. And they are now claiming that, hey, you can't blame King Kong's death on King Kong falling from the Empire State Building. No. Climate change is to blame. Climate change caused the real King Kong's death. Now, some of you are probably sitting there looking at your TV screens, your tablet screens, your computer screens, looking at me crazy. But I assure you, I have not gone crazy yet. It may come if 2024 keeps going the way it's going. But I assure you, I am telling you the truth. Let's look right here at this article from NBC. What killed the real King Kong? Scientists say they know the answer to an ancient mystery. Let's pause right there. I never knew there was an ancient mystery behind what killed King Kong. I always thought King Kong was fake. But I guess we're not allowed to enjoy a movie about a fictional character. Now we have to have a conversation about climate change when talking about King Kong. And these weirdos, they do this all the time. They hijack movies, they hijack entertainment, they hijack conversations. So now when you're online looking up information about the new King Kong movie, all you're going to see is climate change freaks blaming climate change for the death of King Kong. It's really wild, but it's happening, folks. Let's dive a little bit further into the article. King Kong. It did not fall off the Empire State Building. Instead, a giant ape, sometimes dubbed the real King Kong, was driven to extinction by climate change that put its favorite fruits out of reach during the dry season. Standing 10 feet tall and weighing up to 650 pounds, Gigantifetus blackie roamed the forested plains of southern China hundreds of thousands of years ago. So, I mean, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish here. Are you trying to guilt trip Godzilla fans into believing and falling for the climate change scam by telling us that our hero, the legend King Kong himself, was taken out by climate change? It's like they want us to be sad about this, but when I think about it, maybe I'm just messed up. But when I think about it, I'm like, good. I am glad climate change killed King Kong. Because the last thing I need is a 10-foot ape smashing my brains in while I'm trying to go get a 12-piece nugget from Chick-fil-A. Okay? And okay, maybe I need to lay off the nuggets. But let's say I decided to go to the gym. Do I really need a 10-foot King Kong ape grabbing me by my legs and swinging me up in the air into the tree canopies and peeling me like a freaking banana? Do you want something like that to happen to you? Thank God for climate change. Thank you, God, for climate change. You knew that humans could not survive on the same planet as King Kong, and not just one King Kong, a whole species of King Kongs. So if you're trying to demonize climate change, it's not working on people like me. Because I'm like, shit. Hell. I'm glad climate change had to take these giant apes out so we didn't. I don't want to live side by side with King Kong. I mean, it's cool to watch on TV, but I don't think it would end well for anyone. But all jokes aside, in all seriousness, this is where we're at, folks. And the fact that people don't see how ridiculous this is insane to me. Has the climate changed over the years? Sure. Will the climate continue to change? Sure. That's just life. I'm all about protecting the environment. I'm all about cutting down on pollution. I really do think there are important conversations to be had. I think there are a lot of things that we can do as the human race to make our world a cleaner place. But that and what the climate change cult is trying to do, it's two different things. It's not about making the world a cleaner place for them. And if you're a foot soldier that they use on the ground to go riot and protest for them, if you're a mini Greta Thunberg, maybe that's your motive. Maybe that's what you really want. But the people who are driving this stuff, they don't care about any of you who agree with them. They want to get rid of you. They want to get rid of me. They want to get rid of all of us. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, when humans breathing, when climate change is blamed, when they say the cause of climate change is humans breathing, and we have to put an end to climate change, and we have to reduce climate change, and we have to fight climate change, what do you think the outcome is ultimately going to be? It's ultimately going to be about reducing the human population. Just like they say, oh, we got to reduce gas cars. We got to electric cars. We got to reduce cars. Then you got these cities taking out the roadways, implementing bike lanes. You can't drive here. You can't drive there. We got to reduce transportation. We got to reduce the amount of gas stoves. We got to reduce this. We got to reduce that. The whole climate change nonsense has always been about reducing this, reducing that, reducing your freedoms, reducing your access to use this, reducing your access to use that. As the world leaders fly around on private jets, it's always been about reducing something, and ultimately it's going to be about reducing you. But I feel like we still have a good chance at stopping them from carrying out their true plans if we point out how ridiculous they are. And even though this story about the real King Kong is really interesting, for them to be trying to play this in a time where a new King Kong movie is coming out, and you're trying to cram the airways with talks about climate change killing King Kong, it just shows you how stupid and ridiculous these people are. And the levels they are willing to stoop to interject their ideology, if you will, into people's brains. It's like they're trying to brainwash people through the media in any way possible. Even if they have to do ridiculous things like saying King Kong, a fictional movie character, died from climate change. But with all of that being said, this whole story is so ridiculous that I can't even properly talk about it because I'm thinking about how stupid it is in my mind while I'm trying to formulate sentences. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to the channel via Super Thanks, or you can donate directly via Cash App. But make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.